Every December, families across Nigeria pack their bags with excitement. But not everyone returns home. Some call it bad luck, others say it's just the road. This is the true reason elders insist that before you enter any vehicle this season, you must pray. Before we continue, please take a moment to like and subscribe to the channel for more captivating African stories. The Okafor family had been planning their December trip for months. Mr. Okafor. Quiet, hardworking, the type of man who didn't talk much. But when he spoke, everyone listened. His wife, Mama Chinyere, balanced him perfectly. She was soft-spoken but firm. She prayed about everything: food, school fees, even small errands. Their teenage daughter, Chinyere, was bright and cheerful. And Hugo, the youngest, had enough energy for the entire household. Just a family looking forward to Christmas in the village. December came quickly. The house was lively, bags opened everywhere. New clothes still inside nylon bags. Provisions stacked on the table. The children argued about who would sit by the window on the bus. They bought rice, drinks, and small gifts for relatives. Mama folded clothes while humming. Everything felt fine, almost too fine. But that week, she had a dream. It wasn't clear, just a feeling she couldn't shake. She woke up uncomfortable, but she said nothing. She didn't want to ruin the excitement. Later that day, their neighbor stopped her at the gate and said, "I don't know why, but don't travel on Thursday. Travel another day." He didn't explain. He just walked away. Mama stood there, confused. A small wind blew over her, and for a moment she felt cold. She brushed it off and went inside. On Wednesday evening, the Okafors went to church for midweek service. They hadn't told anyone about their travel date. But during prayer, the prophet paused. He looked around the hall slowly, and then he said, "Someone here is traveling tomorrow. Don't rush the journey. Pray well." Mama's heart skipped. She opened her eyes and looked at her husband. He looked back at her. No words exchanged, just a quiet agreement that something felt off. Then at the motor park the next morning, another odd thing happened. A commercial driver waved them over but, after looking closely at the family, he suddenly said he had no space. Even though the bus was clearly half empty. He didn't give a reason. He simply said, "Find another bus." Little things. But enough to make you wonder. They finally boarded a different bus. People were shouting, hawkers selling bread, groundnuts, water. Children running up and down. Passengers arguing about seats. Before the bus moved, someone started a prayer. Everyone chorused, "Amen." The driver crossed himself twice and adjusted his mirror. But something shifted the moment the bus pulled out of the park. A strange passenger entered at the last minute. A man no one noticed until he sat down quietly at the back. The driver looked at him through the mirror, then looked away quickly. Chinyere became unusually silent. Hugo, who always talked, pressed close to his mother. And a sudden coldness passed through the bus. A coldness no one mentioned. About 30 minutes into the journey, everyone's phones lost network, at the same time. Not one bar. Even the driver raised his phone slightly, confused. Hugo tugged his mother's hand and whispered, "Mummy, who is that man outside the window?" But when she looked, she saw no one. There was nothing there, just trees. The driver kept checking his side mirror. His eyes darting back and forth like he was expecting something. A man in the front seat began whispering prayers under his breath. No one asked him why. He just kept going. Then a shadow crossed the road. No human shape. No animal shape. Just something quick, gone in a second. The bus dipped slightly as though running over something. But there was nothing behind them. A strange-looking vehicle, old and faded, drove alongside them for a moment. The passengers inside didn't look real, faces too still, eyes too straight. Then the vehicle turned sharply into a bush path and disappeared from view. The moment that changed everything came suddenly. The young woman sitting beside the window, who had been quiet the whole time, jerked upright and shouted, "Everybody pray! Something is following this bus." People gasped. Some froze. Some grabbed their bags. The driver's hands trembled slightly on the steering. She continued. "I'm not trying to scare anyone, but this journey is not ordinary. Something does not want us to reach our destination." Her voice shook, but she wasn't lying. You could feel it by the way the bus fell silent instantly. Mr. Okafor reached for his wife's hand. Mama closed her eyes and started praying softly. Everything became clear minutes later. A strange vibration passed through the bus. The driver slowed down without knowing why. At that same moment, a trailer ahead of them lost control and toppled across the road. If they had been moving at normal speed, they would have been under it. There would have been no time to escape. Passengers screamed. Some cried. Some thanked God loudly. Then the strange man from the back of the bus stood up quietly and stepped off the bus. No luggage. No explanation. He simply walked into the nearby bush. People rushed to the windows, but by the time they looked, he was gone. No path. No footprints. The young woman who had shouted earlier wiped her face and whispered. This is why some warnings should not be ignored. Mama remembered her dream. She remembered the neighbor's random advice. She remembered the prophet's words. Everything matched. When they finally arrived at the village, the entire bus gathered for a moment of quiet prayer. Even people who didn't usually pray found themselves thanking God. Parents hugged their children. Strangers held hands. It wasn't drama, just relief. Hugo asked his mother. "Mummy, was that man an angel?" She didn't answer. She didn't know what to say. But deep inside, she knew their journey had been protected. Protected by warnings. Protected by prayer. This season, before you enter the road, pray. Before you pack your bags, pray. Before you put your children in any vehicle, pray. The road is not just a road. Some journeys are physical. Some journeys are spiritual. And sometimes, the simple prayer of a mother can save an entire bus. So as you travel this December, don't rush. Don't ignore that small nudge in your heart. Take a moment, and pray.